a while last night, so
Oh, wow.
today I kind of need to sit down. No, I did bring something. I'm a poet. I'm also an editor. But I also have in my life done a lot of visual art. And when I joined this group, and Phyllis sort of revived it, I think, and I joined the group, and I used to make dolls all the time. But I didn't make the pretty, I've done those too, the pretty bisque dolls. I've all put those together, but I didn't make those kind of dolls. I sewed. I made dolls out of scraps and all kind of things. So I did a Katrina doll for one of the trips that we took to California after Katrina. It was when we were ambassadors in the arts to other places. And then another time in the Women's Caucus for Art, I had a found piece that I did. That I just put a whole bunch of different things together. A little clown that was a puppet that was much worse for wear for being in my house for about 20 years. And he reminded me of a lot of the sort of clown drunks in the French Quarter, so that's what he became. And he was Ash Wednesday. And the piece was Ash Wednesday, Easter is coming, And so that was found art. But the rest of the time, I've been coming to all of the things to do, but I haven't been doing visual art because I'm doing other things. So this is my most recent book, which is called Downtown. I live downtown in the upper 9th Ward, what's now called Bywater. It was just the 9th Ward when I moved there. And Kachea Burt, who's a friend of mine for probably 20 years, I guess, just about, has a lot of her photography in here. And so I'm passing some of these around for people to look at. Go in this direction as well. And this is my poetry in there. And when I say downtown, it's all the downtown neighborhoods. I lived in the French Quarter for 12 years. I lived in Marigny when it was called Hine Quarter, because all the quarterites were moving into what is now called Marigny, and we just referred to it as Hine Quarter. And then I've been living in Bywater, again, before it was Bywater, and for something like 35 years. So that's, why I wrote Downtown. And a lot of the poems are about the Lower Nine, where I have a lot of friends, and I knew a lot of people who lost their houses. I was lucky. We had water, and a good bit of water, and a good bit of damage, but I didn't lose my house. I was able to stay in my house. We've had a lot of other problems from it, family problems of other people, sickness and all kinds of things. So it's been complicated. But I continue to like to work. These are Kachea's photographs again. And you'll be interested, this is a magazine that I've been editing since 1982. Another woman had this magazine called the New Laurel Review. And she was my friend. As she was aging, she was probably, when I met her, she had just retired from being a teacher in colleges. And so she was doing this magazine. We became very good friends. When she died, her family asked me if I would do the magazine. And I said, oh, no. Last thing in the world I want to do is edit a magazine, because then I'll never do my own work. But I've continued to do it since 1982. And this is a train that goes through the Bywater. But these are poems from people all over the world, and it's an international magazine. So I have some of these to pass around to people to look at. They're all for sale if anybody's interested any time of working with us. We would be interested in the artwork. This is another one where we need somebody else that needs one to look at.
Oh dear.
Sounds
like something I know.
So anyway, those are the things I've been doing instead of visual art. And I wish I had more time to do visual art, because I love to do it. I would like to be putting something in the shows also. I particularly would like to do something again, which I did that last time, which was a piece of visual art.
When you do visual arts, what do you do?
Well, I made dolls, I used to
You made
paint.
the dolls.
I used to paint in oil. I've never been successful. Somehow or another, acrylic doesn't appeal to me
That's okay.
because of the immediacy of it. I also like sculpture. I used to do sculpture, and I used to sell my work when I was very young. I lived in the French Quarter for a long time. Not that I ever made a living from it, but I sold in the galleries sometimes. Mostly I liked oil. I particularly liked portrait painting. I did all kinds of things in art, but I'm not either a watercolorist or an acrylic person. I have a dear friend from Australia. We've been visiting back and forth for probably 35 years. We met in Mexico. Her family met mine in Mexico. And she is the most fantastic watercolorist I've ever known in my life. But to see how she moves the paint the way she wants it is so different from the way I work. I'm inclined to be sculptural, to do the kind of a sculptural thing with oil because you can move it around. So anything that's as quick as acrylic or as sort of, to my notion, hard to move as watercolor, I'm not successful with, or at least I wasn't drawn to it.
Does anybody have any questions?
Is the book that just got passed around, is it all transportation funds?
It's about trains. That particular one is about trains. We have usually a different themed issue because we found with theme issues, this is a completely independent literary magazine. I raise the money every single time we put one out. So I don't try to do it as quarterly. I do it when we get the money, the book gets out. So it is collected in libraries all over the country. It's in the New York Public Library. If I'm only working in black and white right now because I think it's cheaper. I maybe learn it's not as cheap. It might be cheaper to do some other things, but I haven't learned that yet. But right now we're working in black and white. Anybody who would like to send us drawings or anything. The next issue, which I can't tell you when it'll be out because it'll be when we get the money that we get it out, but will be on anything New Orleans. I've written a lot about New Orleans, although I write about other things. But we will do an issue on anything New Orleans, sculpture, anything else. And as I said, the books are for sale. The magazines are $15. My book is $15. But they're in bookstores. I'm not come to sell books here. I came to show them because I thought, here I keep showing up at all these things and I'm not putting anything in the shows anymore. Let me show people what I do. So this was supposed to be show and tell. So I thank you very much for listening.
Thank you.
Hey, I do want to mention,
I will be reading on September 1st at Ladder Library at 2 o'clock with Gina Ferrara. I assume she and I are reading because she runs the series, and both of us, if we don't have a terrible crowd because of everybody gone somewhere, neither one of us will be too distressed. But if somebody's staying in town and would like to come to a poetry reading, we'll be reading.
What day?
Saturday.
That's a
Next Saturday.
Saturday.
Of next week?
The first, Labor Day weekend.
Oh,
Labor
okay,
Day
we can.
weekend.
Oh.
That's
why
why
she's
she's saying there's no
you'll
crowd.
probably be gone.
and what time?
No, that's
2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Okay.
Anybody else wants to comment on her work?
We lovely group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It stands for the people and the artists and gives us venues for showing
It's just
ourselves.
refreshing to see the French Quarter, Marigny and Bywater, and the Lower Ninth portrayed by people who actually live there, as opposed to journalists who are passing through and who are trying to get a scoop on, what happened in the Brad Pitt.
I'm not
and
as
all,
bothered by that as other people. I'm inclined to kind of roll with life. I find that it's always giving us something new and interesting to look at. And, we're longer than a 9-day wonder. Everybody has come and they're either doing art here or they're come for some reason. But it's a very attractive city. Blushing that people have been going to Paris that way forever and a day.
Yeah.
So That doesn't bother me too much. I found some wonderful sort of integrated. Amelie is one from California. And we would not have so many art galleries in Bywater. I hope we really do not want the Bywater to be gentrified, even though it improves our property values. It also makes our tax assessments go way up, you know. And we don't want the Bywater to become a place where the mix that we have now would not be there.
The regular
It's a
old New
wonderful,
Orleans.
wonderful artistic mix, you know.
It is.
I've heard there are more artists per capita in Bywater than anywhere else in Louisiana.
Really?
Yeah.